Hey everyone, welcome back to Engelbard. Hey, how about that new intro, huh? The video was done by my friend Jeff and you can find his information in the description below. The music was done by, who's that again? Oh yeah, me. I made the music in Deflamask, that's running on Sega Genesis hardware, and yeah, it'll play on a real Genesis. The only difference is that after I recorded it, I added some reverb before throwing it into the video. So what do you think? Pretty neat, huh? And now back to business. It occurs to me that I've covered a lot of arcade games on this channel, but I've never covered an arcade stick.
What's wrong with you?
Settle down, Reggie. We're going to take care of that right now. For today, I'll be showing you and giving you my full review of the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick. This is billed as a 7-in-1 arcade stick, supporting a lot of modern and modern-ish platforms. What platforms does it support? Well, you can use it on the PC, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and Android. Oh yeah, and you can also use it with a bunch of different single-board computers. I don't want to burst any bubbles immediately here, but one thing you'll notice right away is this is a wired controller. It hooks in via USB. So if you're hoping for a wireless one, sorry, you're out of luck with this one. Now, it's not all bad news, however, because wired controllers typically experience significantly less input delay than wireless ones, whether they're either over Bluetooth or, 2.4 gigahertz or whatever. So, sit back and watch as I unbox, fully test, and provide a review of the GameKing Arcade Stick. This is a box. When I open it, you will see that it contains a thing. In this case, the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick. Okay, let's just get that guy out of there. And, oh hey, I knew it wasn't full size, but it's a little smaller than I thought it would be.
That's what she said.
You have to open the compartment in the back to get the protective disc, the stick, the ball, and the USB cable out. There we are. And look at this. I guess you just screw it in. Here we go, and there we are. So first impressions? Not great. The label is all scuffed and scratched on the joystick. And no, it isn't part of the design. The sticker is also frayed a bit and bubbling up a bit on a few of the edges. Not super impressive so far. But maybe it'll work great. It's not all about looks, right? So before I get too far into this, I tried the GameKing Arcade Stick on my PC, my Android devices, and some Raspberry Pis. I was going to test it on my PS4 Pro, but it was kind enough to die on me this week. Thanks, Sony. And Nintendo Switch? I don't feel like it since I don't really have any arcadey type games on that system. For the ease of recording, I'm using my computer this time around for all of the footage that you're going to see here, and I've decided to capture me actually using the joystick in conjunction with the gameplay. First up, Street Fighter II Champion Edition. Yeah, I still play this fairly often, and, how can I put this delicately? The diagonals suck on this thing. Pulling off a Dragon Punch is nigh impossible. Fireballs and Hurricane Kicks are generally easy enough, but I haven't failed at Dragon Punches like this since before I know how to purposely do them when the original Street Fighter II was brand new. So, Street Fighter II, its sequels, and other fighting games are basically a no-go. The biggest issue seems to be that there's a delay when pressing most diagonal directions that just isn't there when you're pressing one of the 4 cardinal directions, meaning like north, south, east, or west. It's weird, it's kind of like when you went to the arcade as a kid, that one arcade you knew didn't have the best games, but hey, suddenly Street Fighter II was there. But there was just something off about the joystick and the way it controlled. That's what the GameKing joystick feels like. Okay, so fighting games were not so great with the GameKing Arcade Stick. How about action games? Let's try Super Contra. Enjoy my mad skills as I plow through the first level with the greatest of ease. I can still feel the delay on the diagonals, but it's not as bad here. Super Contra has a weird natural delay with diagonals and changing your firing direction, so really, it kind of fits the way that this joystick works pretty well, and you don't really notice too much of a problem. So yeah, I've got to say, I didn't really have any issues at all playing at least the first level here. I did capture a little bit of footage from level 2. It was a little bit tougher just with walking on the diagonals. So it's definitely not perfect, but it wasn't bad. It was passable. Next up, Legendary Wings. In this game, I have to move in all directions, so it's a good test of the stick. And it's kind of okay. It definitely feels like it takes more effort to move diagonally than it should. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the buttons don't feel particularly great on this arcade stick either. They work alright, but they aren't made from the high quality parts that you see in a lot of other joysticks. And you have to hit the buttons a little bit harder than you should just for them to have that satisfactory tactile feeling. Anyway, yeah, it's alright. It's not a disaster with this game. It's fine. Let's look at another shooter. How about Gradius 2? If you haven't played the arcade version before, it actually uses 3 buttons. One for firing, a separate button for missiles, and one for powering up. If you're using MAME or playing a modern version, you can assign regular fire and missiles to the same button, which is what I would normally do. But I left it with the 3 unique buttons for maximum arcade accuracy here. And yeah, it's alright. Much like with Legendary Wings, it works okay, but it just does sometimes feel like it takes a little too much effort to move diagonally. Alright, let's go with Double Dragon. This is a good test for pressing buttons together. Hey, works pretty well. That mighty elbow smash is coming out with ease. Since diagonal movement is a little less critical in this particular game, it actually feels pretty nice to play it with this arcade stick, and it reminds me of the good old arcade days. Yeah, Double Dragon works really well with this. Finally, go ahead and look at some Altered Beast gameplay while I finish up my take on this. So what's my verdict on the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick? Well, it's not particularly good at the type of game in the very name of the product, so that's kind of a problem straight away. The button layout also isn't the best. I feel like the last column of buttons should have been offset a little bit, especially since the buttons are smaller than normal arcade buttons, so it's easy to hit the ones you don't mean to by accident. Now it does have a turbo function and lots of navigation buttons. While you didn't see the turbo function in this video, I did test it and it works just fine, and the adjustable speed works just fine. It also has a home button, a share/select button, L3, R3, and start. The build quality overall is a little bit meh. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. Really, it's kind of average, which isn't too unexpected at the price of this device, which is about $45 as I record this. Alright, so what's the deal? Would I recommend that you go out and purchase the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick? I would have to say probably not. Maybe in very limited circumstances. If you've got a nice little single board computer set up, and you have a cool little retro case for it, and you just want something to complete the look and that is functional, so if you want to play games it works but you don't plan to use it very often, then yeah, I could see that as being the ideal scenario for this thing, or the ideal use case, I should say. If you're going to play a lot of fighting games or things that require quick diagonal movements, then yeah, I just can't recommend this one. My review score for the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick is going straight down the middle at 5 out of 10. The main problems are that it doesn't feel like it's got a great build quality. Diagonals, particularly in the up directions, just have a very noticeable delay a lot of the time, and it just doesn't feel like you're using a high quality product. And much higher quality joysticks very often are not much more expensive than this one. If this product ever goes on sale, if you find it for like maybe $30 or $25 or less than that, it's probably worth picking up. But at the $45 it's currently going for, I just don't think it's worth it. And that will do it for this video, my retro gaming friends. If you enjoyed the video, please toss it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. And also, help spread the word about the channel. For little small channels like mine that are relatively new, it's really the only way to help them grow these days. And don't forget while you're here to leave a comment with any of your thoughts, feelings, questions, or opinions on the GameKing Arcade Fighting Stick or anything related to Engelbart Gaming. With that, I'll say thanks for watching, and see me later.